Alhamdulillah, salatu wassalam ala Rasulillah, wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah, wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu, wa sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallam. Amma ba'd. In today's society, bi'idhnillah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Muslim and al-Islam as viewed and seen at the world at large, we have to be extra careful and we have to be closely on guard in regards to the way that we carry out our deen and not watering down the principles or the tenets or the commandments or any aspect of our deen just to fit in to a society that is predominantly run by individuals who are immoral and who have lost their connection to their Creator. So we Muslims, we are unapologetically uncompromising. What does that mean? Inshallah ta'ala, in this talk, we're going to bring some statements from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and some commentary from the Mufassirin and explaining that it is important that we understand the goal and the objective of the disbelievers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, throughout his book, he tells Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam on numerous occasions the goal and the objective of the disbelievers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he says in the second chapter of the Quran, which is known as Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah Jalla wa Ala sallallahu alaihi wasallam, وَلَن تَرْضَى عَنْكَ الْيَهُودُ وَلَا النَّصَارَى حَتَّى تَتَّبِعَ مِلَّتَهُمْ. In this verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he tells Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, never would the Nasaras, those who believe that Isa ibn Maryam have died for their sins, those who believe that Isa ibn Maryam is made a ilah along with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those who believe that Isa ibn Maryam is the son of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they will never be pleased with you, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, nor would the Yahud, those who believe that Isa ibn Maryam never came, those who believe that they are waiting for him to come, and those who believe that Uzar is the son of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they believe that they will only be touched by the fire for a few number of days. Allah tells Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, they will never be pleased with you until you follow their deen. It's important you understand this. The objective of the kuffar, the objective of the non-believers, the objective of the mushrikeen, the objective of those who commit shirk with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is to never stop until you, O Muslims, forsake your deen, until you follow their way. This is their objective. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had laid this down in the Quran. Allah Jalla wa Ala tells us in the Quran, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned, يَقُولُونَ بِأَلْسِنَتِهِمْ مَا لَيْسَ فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ. Allah tells us in another verse in the Quran, Allah said they say that with their mouths what is not in their hearts. They say what? Meaning they issue forth words out of their mouths that they do not believe or hold any credence in their heart whatsoever. Their only objective is to get you to forsake your deen. when Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, living amongst the Quraysh, living amongst the people of Mecca, when he was commissioned as a prophet and a messenger to call the people to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam because they wanted him to stop what he were doing. Allah mentioned in a verse, what do law tudhinu fayudhinu. What do law tudhinu fayudhinu. Allah said they wish that you should compromise in your deen so that they too should compromise with them, meaning what is with them in their deen. They wish that you, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, compromise. Ibn Sa'di, rahmatullah ta'ala alayh, in his beautiful commentary to this tremendous verse, he said what this mean, what do, he said, meaning al-mushrikun, those who commit partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. La tudhinu, what does this mean? Meaning, tuwafiquhum ala ba'd ma hum alayh, to agree with them upon some of the things that you find them upon. Imma bil qawl, either by way of agreeing with them in statement, or bil fi'l, or by way of action, or by way of being silent to their shirk. Do not speak out against their shirk. Do not speak out against their polytheists. Do not speak out against their treason. Do not speak out against their bid'ah. Do not speak out against their dhunub. Do not speak out against their sins. Do not speak out against their disobedience and their fisq, but rather remain silent. Law tudhinu, they wish that you, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, remain silent, or that you agree with them in statement and action. The Shaykh continues. He says, فَيُدْهِنُونَ, however, it is upon you, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and we as Muslims as following Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, is upon you to remain firm upon the affair of Allah, to make apparent the deen of al-Islam. فَإِن تَمَامَ إِظْهَارُهُ بِالنَّقْدِ مَا يُضَبْطُهُ, from the completion and the perfection of making the deen of Islam apparent, whether whatever time or place, from its perfection is negating and to refute that which is go against it or oppose it. He says, وَعَيْبُ مَا يُنَاقِضُهُ, and also to censor that which is in opposition to it. So they wish that the Prophet ﷺ agreed with them on some of the things that they were doing, whether he said a good word, or whether he had done some of the actions, or whether he was silent in terms of what they were upon. We Muslims, again, are unapologetically uncompromising. Understand what this means. Under no circumstances will we ever water down the commandments of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the prohibitions, the qawa'id, the principles found both in the kitab and the sunnah, whether it's for us or against us, will we ever compromise that. And you learn this, inshallah, in this surah we get ready to go over. This is a surah that is very tremendous because the story behind it in the tafsir, Ibn Kathir, he mentioned it. There are some reports that some people from amongst the Quraysh, they came to the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and they wanted to offer him different things so that he would give up his call, that he would give up his da'wah, that he would give up rectifying the people's hearts, connecting them to the Creator. They wanted him to stop because he was messing up their economy. He was messing up their structure. He was messing up their regime. So they wanted the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to stop. So they came to him with all types of bribes, all types of lavish things. Whether we can give you women, if that's what you have a need for. We can give you wealth, if that's what you have a need for. We can make you our king, if that's what you have a need for. We can do all of these things. We can use all of these different diversion tactics or persuasion tactics to shift you from your focus, and that is the message of at-tawheed. What we learn in this story, whether the story is authenticated or not, as Ibn Kathir mentions, What we learn in a story like this, and we learned in the response of the Messenger of Allah ﷺ via this surah that we get ready to go over, by the permission of Allah, we learned that at-Tawheed is the most potent, it is the most effective, and it is the most afraid, and it shakes any structure that exists on the face of the earth. If any person was to stand up and call the people to at-Tawheed, I want you to understand how important this is, and I want you to understand how potent this is. Anyone who stands up and calls the people to the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone is going to shake the very foundation of that society. Bottom line, whether he be one person, whether it's two of them, whether it's three of them, it's going to shake the very foundation. You've seen that with the boy and the king and the magician. You've seen that with every messenger that was sent. Each one of them called their people to the worship of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They did not call them to worship themselves. They did not call them to follow them, to give them money. They did not call them to say that we can have this or have that. They called them to worship Allah. Whenever you start a call like this call in and of itself is going to uproot the enemies and the opposers, because once they hear that their mind is automatically going to calculate that this is something more greater and powerful than themselves. They cannot turn the people here to this way. They cannot turn it to that way. It's a call like none other. It's the same call that made Bilal ibn Rabah be dragged in the hot sun, in sand, be dragged with sun, in the hot sun, saying Ahad, Ahad, as they was torturing him, because it was a call that wasn't called to any ideology, wasn't called to any philosophy, it wasn't called to any type of man-made concept. It was calling people back to the pure fitra, and that is to worship their Lord subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. This is why you seen the da'wah and the effect of the da'wah of Muhammad Abdul Wahhab. You saw his da'wah, which was mainly concentrated not on the kuffar but on the Muslims themselves. You saw his da'wah was so effective because the Muslims have fell into committing shirk and bid'ah within their deen, and they have left it, but he called them back to the pure at-Tawheed. It is also that as a condition that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has promised, وَعَدَ اللَّهُ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِنْكُمْ, as Allah said in Surah An-Nur, indeed Allah has promised those who believe from amongst you, if they do two things. One, if they worship Allah alone and they do not commit shirk with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said He's going to give them يَسْتَخْلِفَنَّكُمْ. Pay attention. يَسْتَخْلِفَنَّكُمْ. He's going to make them the successors, make them the rulers, make them take control, and no matter which place or what region or what area, what geographical location or what map, they will overpower their enemies. Because they worship Allah alone and they put Tawheed first. This is the condition. And then Allah Jalla wa Ala mentioned something next. He also said He would give them safety. He also would give them safety. يَسْتَخْلِفَنَّكُمْ. Allah will give you this succession if you call to at-Tawheed. So when they gave him all of these different things they wanted to offer the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ibn Kathir said it mentioned that Allah revealed this verse, this surah rather. This surah is known as Surah Al-Kafirun. Allah Jalla wa Ala said, Kul ya ayyuhal kafirun. And from amongst us there are those who love to water down the da'wah. There are those of us who love to water down Islam. There are those of us who love to fit in, for lack of better words, who love to compromise. Waliyadu billah, that we felt so weak in our standing without Islam that we don't even like to use the word kafir. SubhanAllah. We do not even like to use the word kafir. There are many from amongst us who do not like to use the word kafir, a word that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Ya ayyuhal kafirun. Say to them, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Ya ayyuhal kafirun. We don't want to use the word kafir. You want to call them anything but calling them a kafir, waliyadu billah. And if you understood the meaning of al-kufr, and if you understood the meaning of kafir, then it would have been only befitting that you called them that. Because a kafir, the root meaning of it is to cover something up, as the ulama explained linguistically. As if a person was a farmer and he was covering up the seed where he was going to plant something. He was covering it up. So when we look at it in the Shara'an, it is an individual denying the truth and concealing it and hiding it. And it have many different manifestations. It have two main categories that breaks down into two subcategories. Kafir is the most befitting thing that you can call it. Allah called him that. So why are you watering down the da'wah? Why do you feel offended or feel that it's offensive to another if you call them a kafir? That's what they are. Kul ya ayyuhal kafirun. Allah did not care about the feelings of the said individuals who were trying to bribe the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to stop the call of at-tawheed. Kul ya ayyuhal kafirun. This surah is tremendous, brothers and sisters. This surah teaches us something, and that's really, really important. And that is, we are unapologetically. And I say this not out of arrogance, but I say this out of haqq. We are unapologetically uncompromising. We will not change. We will not stop. We will not alter our course. We will not redirect our focus. We will not sympathize. We will not become watered. We will not be offended by saying something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger have said. If it's authentically attributed to the Prophet ﷺ, if it's understood from the Sunnah that this is the haqq, we will not sugarcoat it. We will not water it down. We will not turn the other cheek. We will not look the other way. If it is wrong, it is wrong. We do not answer questions about someone saying, can a person be gay? We do not say, yes, he can. There's no such thing of a person can be gay. No such thing. It is offensive, not only to the Creator who created that person. It is offensive to humanity themselves. It is offensive, do you understand that? To the angels. It is offensive to the jinns, especially the ones who are the Muslims from amongst them. It is offensive to anybody who is upon ta'ah. It is offensive. You understand? Not the other way around. We're not offending no group of people who are talking about they want to be gays. You're offending us. We're not going to be unapologetic and say a man can choose when to choose. A man is not at liberty to choose nothing but what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told him to choose. And for that, مَا سَلَكَكُمْ فِي سَقَرَ. Allah says this. He made it clear. What caused you to enter to the fire? SubhanAllah. In these 5 short verses, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala managed to deal a death blow to the kuffar from amongst the Quraysh until the time where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will remove the Quran and take it up in one night and remove it from the sudur, from the breasts of men, as well as from the suhuf, from the pages of the books, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to take His words back. This is also a belief from Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah. Allah says, say, O you who disbelieve, La a'budu ma ta'budun. Pay attention now. I do not worship that which you worship. Wala antum abidun ma a'bud. And nor do you worship that which I worship. Wala ana abidun ma abadtum. Nor am I a worshipper of that which you worship. وَلَا أَنْتُمْ عَابِدُونَ مَا أَعْبُدُ. And you do not worship that which I worship. لَكُمْ دِينُكُمْ وَلِيَ دِينِ. To you be your deen, and to me be mine. وقال المفسر شيخنا Sheikh Muhammad ibn Salih al-Uthaymin rahmatullah ta'ala alayh, in his beautiful commentary to this tremendous short surah, he said that this surah is one of the surahs of Al-Ikhlas. Meaning it is one of the surahs that's also known as Ikhlas. It is also the 4th Qul. In the Quran, Allah Jalla wa Ala begins 5 surah. 5, which is the plural for the word surah. 5 chapters in the Quran begin with Qul. 5 of them. And right off the back, we already know 3 of them. And this is what we call the 4th, but it's 5. Allah Jalla wa Ala mentioned Surah Al-Jinn. That is the 72nd chapter of the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said Qul. Allah mentioned in Qul ya ayyuhal kafirun. Allah Jalla wa Ala says Qul. Allah says Qul huwa Allahu ahad. Allah says Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq. Qul a'udhu bi rabbil nas. These are the 5 surahs that mention with the word qul. Say. But it is one of the surahs that is known as al-ikhlas. Because ikhlas just doesn't mean sincerity, brothers and sisters. It means to absolve yourself and to free yourself and to separate yourself and to distinguish yourself from that which is in opposition to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and His Messenger. I want you to pay attention. The Shaykh said, لِأَنَّ سُورَةَ الْإِخْلَاصِ قُلْ يَا أَيُّهَا الْكَافِرُونَ وَقُلْ هُوَ اللَّهُ أَحَدٌ. He said, وَكَانَ النَّبِيُّ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمْ يَقْرَأُ بِهِمَا فِي سُنَّةِ الْفَجْرِ. And we know that it's from the custom or the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, that in the 2 short prayers, he would say them actually fast, because Aisha radiallahu anha said that the Prophet ﷺ would pray these fast, and the 2 units of prayer that comes before Salatul Fajr, the Prophet ﷺ will recite in the first unit of prayer, in the first rak'ah, he will recite Qul Ya Ayyuhal Kafirun, and the second rak'ah, he will recite Qul Huwallahu Ahad. He said, وَفِي سُنَّةِ الْمَغْرِبِ. And also in the 2 sunnah of Maghrib, we will do the same. وَفِي رَكَعَةِ التَّوَافِ. Also in the 2 rak'ahs, so units of prayer for when making the tawaf. He said, لَمَّا تَدَمَّنَّتْهُ مِنَ الْإِخْلَاصِ لِلَّهِ سُبْحَانَهُ وَتَعَالَى وَالثَّنَاءِ عَلَيْهِ بِصِفَاتِ كَامِلَةِ فِي السُّورَةِ. He said, in this, due to the reason why he would compare or combine both of these surahs, due to what they have contained within them from the true and total submissiveness and sincerity and purest and freeing for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and praising Him for His complete and perfect attributes, as it mentioned in Surah Qul Huwallahu Ahad. So when Allah Jalla wa Ala says, Qul, say to them, O Muhammad, Ya ayyuhal kafirun, do not be shy when you say to them, O kafir. Allah said, Yunadihim. The Shaykh said, Yunadihim, yu'lin lahum bin nida, meaning address them, announce to them with this call. Pay attention now. Announce to them with this call, this address. Ya ayyuhal kafirun. Call them kuffar. This is the Shaykh saying, Yunadihim yu'lan. Make it known. Announce them with this bin nida, with this call here. Ya ayyuhal kafirun. O kafir. وهذا يشمل كل كافر سواء كان من المشركين أم من اليهود أم من النصارى أم من الشيوعيين أو من غيرهم. He said that this kafirun, it includes every kafir. It's the same whether they be from the polytheists, the mushrikun, those who worship idols, those who worship stones, those who worship cats, those who worship trees, those who worship men, those who worship angels, those who worship prophets, those who worship messengers. Anything that they worship, or if it be from the Yahud, or if it be from the Nasaras, the Jews and the Christians, or it be from those people who are known to be the Ba'ath Party, the communists. Even if it's from them, because most of the communists, they move by their own law, and most of them are atheists or agnostics. And we ask Allah to protect us from that mean. Or anything other than them. He says, كُلُّ كَافِرٍ يَجِبُ تَنَادِيهُمْ بِقَلْبِكَ أَوْ بِلِسَانِكَ إِنْ كَانَ حَاضِرًا تَتَبَرَّأُ مِنْهُ وَمِنْ عِبَادَتِهِ. Pay attention to this. This is important. He said, every kafir, it is obligatory to address him or her with your qalb, with your heart, as well as with your tongue. In kana hadiran, and if it be the case that they are present when you are addressing them, then he says, لِتَبَرَّأُ مِنْهُ وَمِنْ عِبَادَتِهِ, to free and disassociate yourself from them and what they worship. This is the true standing here. As Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, indeed, لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ, indeed for you there is a beautiful uswatun hasana, a beautiful example in Ibrahim. إِذْ قَالَ لِأَبِيهِ وَقَوْمِهِ. Remember when he called his father and he called his people, when he called them, and he said, إِنَّنِي بَرِيءٌ مِّمَّا تَعْبُدُونَ. He said, indeed I am free, bara, I have made bara, I have dissociated myself from that which you worship besides Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I have made bara. And this is a part of the meaning of al-Islam. This is a part of that beautiful definition of al-Islam. Al-Islam huwa what? Al-istislamu lillahi bit-tawheed wa inqiyadu lahu bit-ta'ah wa what? Wa bara'atu min ash-shirki wa ahlihi. Islam is to surrender to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with at-tawheed, and to yield to Him obediently, and to dissociate yourself from shirk and its people. As Allah told Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as Allah said, Ya ayyuhal mutaththir, kum fa'anthir, wa rabbaka fakabbir, wa thiyabaka fatahhir, wa rujasa fahjur. Pay attention. Allah is telling Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, O you who's wrapped up, engulfed in garments, Qum, stand, arise, fa'anthir, and warn the people. This what made him a messenger. وَثِيَابَكَ فَطَهِّرْ, and make sure that your garments are purified. Make sure that your garments are purified. And the ulama mentioned that this can have two meanings. One, it can be talking about the actual garments of the Prophet ﷺ, and making sure that his garments are actually clean. And the other one, it can be a more spiritual meaning, meaning that make sure that his heart and everything else is free from any of types of shirk or anything that is obscene and so forth, etc. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows best. Then Allah says what? For Rabbaka fakabbir, glorify your Lord. Make sure your garments are purified. وَالرُّجَسَ فَهْجُرْ, and make hijrah. Make the true hijrah. We always want to talk about making hijrah, boycotting one another. Allah told Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, make the true hijrah, or ruj, to those things that are worshipped, from the idols and the stones. There was a natural hatred that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had for idol worship, idolatry. Nowadays, we don't have no type of qualms about someone worshiping anything other than Allah. That doesn't even move us. It doesn't even bother us. We don't even feel no type of way. Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he passed by a rahib, someone who was considered to be a monk. And this man was deep in devout in prayer. And Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu began to cry. And they say, Ya Amirul Mu'mineen, O Commander of the Faithful, why are you crying when you saw this rahib engaging in his act of worship? He said, because he reminded me of a verse in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Ghashiyah, وَعَامِلَةٌ نَاصِبَةٌ, that they're going to work themselves out laboriously and they're not going to receive anything. He saw the monk and he began to cry. Not like us. We see people upon shirk, upon kufr, we have the audacity to laugh. We don't have the audacity to actually think and pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Alhamdulillah alladhi hadana walau nahtadi an hadana. Okay? We say, oh Allah, praise belongs to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for guiding us. And if it wasn't for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guiding us, sure we would not be guided to Al-Islam. This is important to understand. So we do not do that. We dissociate ourselves from shirk and all of its manifestation, and we dissociate ourselves from the people who commit shirk. It's a crime against your Lord. If it's a crime against Allah, it should be a crime against you. Until we really graduate to this level, we always going to take the kuffar as friends. We always going to water down the da'wah. Until you can actually have in your heart a hatred for shirk, a hatred for kufr, a hatred for bid'ah, a hatred for dunub. Until you can have a hatred in your heart, as Allah said, وَكَرَّهَ إِلَيْكُمُ الْكُفْرِ. Allah wa karraha. Do you understand? It's on the wazn al-fa'ala. Now it becomes more intense. Allah says wa karraha. We have made it endearing to their hearts, to dislike, to abhor, to detest, to hate al-kufr and all of its manifestations, to hate al-fusuq, fisk, and all of its manifestations. This is why Islam is the only thing that's left on the battlefield against this immorality world. This is why Islam, brothers and sisters, is the threat. This is why Islam been the threat. And this is why it continue to be the threat. When it's pure Islam, I'm not talking about Islam in this country or that country. I'm not talking about the watered down Islam that want to sympathize and please and compromise with everybody. I'm not talking about the Islam that want to bring everyone together. We should all just get along. Why we don't have to agree. We don't have to agree. Get along what we agree and don't, look over the things that we disagree. I'm not talking about that type of Islam. I'm talking about the Islam that Muhammad ﷺ came with. I'm talking about the Islam that the Sahabas, they fought for. I'm talking about the Islam that the Sahabas was upon. I'm talking about that Islam. The one that was uncompromising. They did not compromise the deen. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq said, if they don't give me 1 dinar, 1 dirham, 1 thing towards the sadaqah, I will fight them even if we are a small band. This is the type of Islam I'm talking about. The Islam that meant something. The Islam that has what? It has some type of izzah, some honor to it. That's the type of Islam I'm talking about. That Islam have to graduate. And until we embrace it, wallahi al-azim, we're going to be watering down the deen. We're going to be watering down the da'wah. And we're going to be fighting one another. An eternal struggle, all of this diversion away from the true call. Individuals are out here calling about this and calling about that. Social ills, police brutality, etc., etc. Calling about all of these different things. They are diversions. We're not saying that they're not important, but they are diversions. Because none of the messengers, you can't find one of them, started their call with social ills. They started their call with at-tawheed, connecting the hearts to the Creator, the only one who has the ability to wipe someone out by saying kun, fayakun. There's no one better than Allah Azza wa Jal. There's no one mightier than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Kul, Allahum malik al-mulk. Allah is the malik al-mulk. There is no one greater than Him. Allah said, Wallahu ya'usimuka min al-nas. Allah Jalla wa ala said, Ya ayyuha rusul ballik ma anzala alayk. We convey that which has been revealed to you. Wallahu ya'usimuka min al-nas. Allah will protect you from the people. A man snuck up on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. While the Prophet ﷺ was sleeping, he took the Prophet ﷺ's sword. And he put the sword to the Prophet and said, who's now going to protect you, O Muhammad? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala caused the ground to shake. And the man lost the sword. And the Prophet ﷺ took the sword from the man and said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will protect me. Wallahu ya'usimuka min al-nas. This is the iman level we need to get to. That we are uncompromising. That we are unapologetically sorry but not sorry at all. This is Islam. And they can't beat it. Wallahi al-azim. They can't beat it. They can't beat a dawah like this. You can't win against the people who are already dead. You can't win against the people whose hearts is already in the hereafter. You can't win against the people who already forsake the dunya. You can't win. You cannot compromise with them. What do law tudhinu for you dahinun? How can you compromise with the Prophet when his bed wasn't the same bed you had? His bed was date palms. How can you compromise with the Prophet ﷺ when he was not focused on the same thing you was focused on? He didn't care about your lavish garments. He didn't care about your wealth. He didn't care about all of those different things. He actually worshiped Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala until his feet began to swell. And the companions, they follow suit. And Allah gave them, as the Prophet ﷺ have told him and informed him, that you should rule over Persia. Allah gave him rule over Persia in a span of 30 years. Nothing like it. You never seen nothing like it. يَسْتَخْلِفَنَّكُمْ. We should give you succession in the land. All they want you to do is to be diverted. And you're not even paying attention to it. Everyone out here calling to this and calling to that. That's not the part. You want to fight police brutality? Then let's fight with Tawheed. Call the people to at-tawheed. That's what they're going to fight you against. And he continues. I can't go long, brothers and sisters, but he says, when you say these verses, how do we understand Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala repeating these verses, making them repetitive? Okay, I'm not going to give you all of his speech because he brings us some linguistic benefits, and that's from the usloob of Shaykh Uthaymeen, but I want to make this concise and short, so I'm going to give you the gist of it. Why? What does it mean when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala constantly repeat and make his verses repetitive? Number one, we must believe that it's not done haphazardly and that it's not done out of place. Allah does not do anything out of mere jest. There's a reason for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doing. And we're going to bring some different positions as to why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala repeated these verses over and over. Shaykh Uthaymeen, he says, when it says, La a'budu ma ta'budun, meaning La a'budu alladhina ta'budunahum wa humul aslam, meaning I do not worship those things which they worship, meaning the idols. Everyone is not on this level of understanding. But unfortunately, this is not even encyclopedic. This is something that you're supposed to have in your heart from the jump. What do I mean from the jump? Meaning that you're supposed to free yourself. This is what Tawheed does. It purifies and cleanses the heart. When you place the right and correct love for the Creator, you automatically wipes out that bad stain, that darkness that filled your heart of sins, of kufr, of bid'ah, of shirk. These are major stains that we have to remove from our hearts. And this is what Mecca, and this is what the da'wah of the Prophet ﷺ was about. He was removing those stains. If you remember the seerah of the Prophet ﷺ, Jibril alayhi salam, he came to the Prophet ﷺ when he was a boy. And he cut open his heart. And he cleansed his heart, took the bad stains from his heart. And he took out the bad portion, and then he sewed them back up and put his heart back in there so that he can be pure and that he can be focused on his call. You got to remove those stains. He mentioned here, he says, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَلَا أَنَا عَابِدٌ مَا عَبَدْتُمْ, that means who Allah, ma here, and I don't want to get too technical, it means men. So in other words, it's saying that, meaning that I do not worship your idols and you do not worship Allah. I am telling these kuffar, Ya ayyuhal kafirun, say to them, O Muhammad, O disbelievers, I do not worship that which you worship. I don't worship any of your idols. I don't call on Isa ibn Maryam. I don't call on messengers and prophets. I don't worship idols. I don't worship things that you have invented and carved with your own hands and made a term or a thing. I don't do that. And nor do you worship Allah. He says, it is think that when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala repeat these questions, He is doing it for emphasis. He said this is a weak understanding and this is not correct. So He brings us some different understanding from the ulama as to what does it mean. One position is that when we say, I do not worship that which you worship, meaning now, in the present, meaning now. O Muhammad, tell them you do not worship what they worship now. What they are upon now, you don't worship that. And when they say, وَلَا أَنَا عَابِدٌ مَا عَبَدْتُمْ, nor what I worship that which you worship, that means in the mustaqbal, in the future. So presently means that. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow our hearts to really grow. And we can really reach this level without even being on a scholarly level. And it's crazy, man, because we think this is a high level. It is a high level, don't get me wrong. But it's not so much a high level as far as high understanding. It's basic back to this. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu udkhulu fis silmi kafa. That's what it's back to. Oh, you who believe, enter Islam wholeheartedly. The problem is we have not removed those things that are blocking us from wholeheartedly accepting Islam. This is why we see this to be here when it really is not there. It's actually supposed to be here in your qalb. But you got all of this different stuff in your heart. That you're not removing yourself from those shackles, those things that are locking you down. All you got to do is tafirru ilallah, as Allah says in the Quran. Flee, run to Allah. Fafirru ilallah. Allah tells you to run to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you do that with your qalb, if you do that with your heart and just give it over, wallahi, this stuff will just remove itself. It will remove itself because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Islam and Tawheed is a purifier. That's what it does. It removes the filth from your heart. Whenever it doesn't, it means you're not practicing it correctly. And a lot of us like to do accolades and say that we muwahidun. We ask Allah to really make us from the muwahidun. Truly what a muwahid is. Not someone who just claimed to be a muwahid. Okay? He mentioned here, he says, meaning in the future. This is one position. One position is saying that one verse is saying, no, now what you worship, I don't worship. Nor would I worship that what you worship or who you worship, meaning in the future. That's one position. Okay? And he says that there is another position, and that is the position meaning, I do not worship those idols which you worship, nor do you worship Allah. He said meaning, as regards ibadah, meaning I do not, meaning my worship is not like your worship. This is exactly, my worship is not like your worship. He says, وَلَا عِبَادَتُكُمْ كَعِبَادَتِي, and nor is your worship like my worship. Okay? فَيَكُونَ هَذَا لِلْنَفِيلِ لِلْفِعْلِ لَا لِلْمَفْعُولُ بِهِ. In other words, it's getting to here what is negating in this position. You're negating the actual action, and you're not negating the object of that particular action. Tayyib. Meaning you're not negating the one that is worship, you're just negating the actual action. The fourth position in regards to why the verses are being repetitive. Okay, the fourth position is the one that has been selected and chosen by Shaykh al-Islam and Taymiyyah. And I know there's a lot of enemies, a lot of people who accuse Shaykh al-Islam and Taymiyyah for starting the Da'wah to Salafiyyah. Waliyadu billah. They even accuse Muhammad Wahhab from starting the Da'wah to Salafiyyah. Waliyadu billah. They even accuse Ahmad ibn Hanbal. You ever notice all of these people, what do they have in common? Staying firm upon that Tawheed, staying firm upon the Sunnah, not compromising in the time of trial and test. When it was time of trial and test, they did not waver. Allah Jalla wa Ala tells us an example of His word. It's like a goodly tree, firm tree, okay? That its roots is firmly grounded. If you want to get to that tree, that shajaratul iman, you want it real strong, then you will not waver for one bit. A million darts can come at you. A million people can try to do something to you. A million people can want to harm you. But you will not shake for one bit because you have solidified your foundation. And the problem is we haven't solidified our foundation. We think issues like Tawheed, issues like Iman, issues like this is just redundant and it's just words to being said, and we think we understand it because we memorize the three categories or the three categorizations of Tawheed or the three aspects of Tawheed. Yes, Tawheed will be here, Tawheed will be here, and we don't even know what none of that stuff means. We say it, we don't even know none of it means. You understand? None of it. We don't know what it means. And the proof that we don't know none of it means, because soon when something happens to us, we don't even use it. We don't utilize Islam at the time when you're supposed to utilize Islam. You have individuals from amongst us who will think that Islam is at any part of your life can be separated from your life. You have brothers and sisters walking around telling you, Akhi, this ain't not even, I'm not even talking to deen, I'm talking this. Tell me the word deen. Tell me wherever the word deen can be separated from your life. I want you to explain it to me. Deen have three meanings in the Arabic language. But I want you to tell me, in any of those definitions, that the word deen can be removed from your life at any point. SubhanAllah. There is no such thing that your life can be separated from your deen. There's no such thing. Okay? Deen is not just what you worship. There is no separation. There is no cutoff. You always have to have the deen with you. Why? Because you as a believer are stuck under two things. Your tawheed to Allah and your halal wal haram. Your tawheed to Allah and your halal wal haram. And that's in everything you do. Is it permissible or is it impermissible? Can I do it or can I not do it? In terms of the regulations to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that's in everything you do. Whether it's transactions, whether it's business, whether it's this, whether it's that, whether it's contracts, whether it's whatever you do, you have to run it back to your deen. So you can't separate it from the two. And until we stop doing that, because that's what the kuffar from the West have done. And they killed us. That's why they say atheists are on the top rise right now. They killing us. Why is the West killing themselves right now? You look at it, why they killing themselves. Why immorality is at an all-time high? You want to know why? Because they separate themselves from the deen. What they did was they separated secular from ethics. They tried to remove the Christianity way. They separated that and they said, let's get away from that. Let's become more liberal. Let's become more free thinkers. Let's become more people who run and think what we want to think. Whatever agrees with our desires at this point, we can run with it. SubhanAllah. This is what they done. And this is why you don't find people still believe in the Creator. Don't get me wrong. They might have a water version of it, but people still believe in the Creator. But you find a lot of people are more with politics than they are with actual deen. And then they use this propaganda to tell you religion is man-made because all they want to do is control people. And then you had a group of Christians running around talking about the New Virgin Bible, that we don't use the word religion no more because religion is man-made and they want to control people. What we want to use, we're going to use a way of life. But we've been using a way of life for a long time because deen is incorporated. Deen is a debt. Deen is how you carry yourself, how you behave, how you interact. This is deen. It doesn't change. Lakum deenukum waliya deen. SubhanAllah. This is what you tell the kuffar who comes to you, and their objectives is to get you to change from your deen. That's all they want from you. Follow their way. Don't be stern on your principles. Compromise. That's all they want you to do. Because what you do is you as a witness against them. As Allah Jalla wa Ala tells Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, فَذَلِكَ جَعَلْنَاكُمْ أُمَّةً وَسَطًا لِتَكُونُوا شُهَدَاءَ عَلَى النَّاسِ وَيَكُونَ الرَّسُولُ. Allah tells Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, He tells the companions, thus we have made you a wasit, a balanced nation that is a witness against mankind. You are a witness against mankind. Whenever you stand for that which is correct, whenever you do that which is correct, whenever you worship your Creator, you are a witness to mankind. And this is why it enrages the demons from amongst mankind. They can't stand you because you're unwavering, because you're standing to that which is correct. And it make them say to you all types of stuff. Oh, you think you're better than us. They said this to the prophets and the messengers. Oh, you think you know high and mighty. You don't, this is what they say. They become sarcastic. But Allah tells you in the Quran to be patient against their insults. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to make victorious those who follow His messengers and His message. We're going to sum this up, inshallah ta'ala, not take too long. The last position that was taken by Shaykh al-Islam al-Taymiyyah is that what it means when you say that I do not worship that which you worship, and nor would you worship that what I worship, meaning that this sentence here agrees with the first position. وَلَا أَنَا عَابِدٌ مَا عَبَدْتُمْ وَلَا أَنْتُمْ عَابِدُونَ مَا أَعْبُدُ, meaning in terms of acceptance. What are you declaring when you say these sentences that seem very similar? What you are actually saying to the kuffar, to the non-believer, you are saying that I would never, ever accept your form of worship, whatever you worship, how you worship, and whatever you deem to be an object of worship. I would never, ever be pleased with it. I would never, ever accept it. That's what you're saying. وَلَنْ أَقْبَلَ إِبَادَتَكُمْ, I would never accept your worship. وَأَنْتُمْ كَذَلِكَ لَنْ تَقْبُلُوا, and likewise you are people that will never accept mine. So the first sentence returned back to the action, and the second sentence returned back to the acceptance and the pleasure. Meaning I do not worship it, nor is I'm pleased with it. And you likewise do not worship Allah, nor is you pleased with worshiping Him. وَهَذَا قَوْلُ إِذَا تَأَمَّلْتُهُ, the Shaykh said, if you look at this position that was taken by Shaykh al-Islam al-Taymiyyah, and you truly reflect upon it, you will see that actually the previous positions that were mentioned, that they really don't hold up to this standard here, this position here, or this opinion. So this is a very good word or good position. And from here we take from the Noble Quran that there is nothing that can be mentioned in the Quran that is mentioned as repetitive in the Quran, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Al-Rahman, فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. He says this over and over, and also in Surah Mursalat, Allah Jalla wa Ala, He says, وَيْلٌ يَوْمَئِذٍ لِلْمُكَذِّبِينَ. He mentioned that as well over and over in that surah, but this is not haphazardly. It is done for a reason. The last part of this surah, لَكُمْ دِينُكُمْ وَلِيَ دِينُ. What does that mean? الَّذِي أَنْتُمْ عَلَيْهِ وَتَدِينُوا بِهِ. تَدِينُونَ بِهِ. Pay attention to this verse. That which you are upon, and you carry your life and your principles and everything upon that way. Tadinu, huh? Because deen also can mean judge. Do you understand? That which you carry your life by, that which you judge your life by, those principles that you work by. I am not upon that, nor your principles, nor your standards, nor your objectives, nor anything that you can muster up or come with. I am not upon that. Lakum dinukum. To you be that. You and your shirk, you and your bid'ah, you and your kufr, you be that. That's not going to stop from me speaking out against it. It's not going to stop from me disliking it and hating it in my heart. It's not going to stop from me warning the people from it. It's not going to stop from me unapologetically. What are we doing? We're coming here to the deen. We get this beautiful deen. We have the most strongest weapon against the shaitan, the jinns, and even from the shayateen, from the ins. And what do? The first thing we do when we get people throwing money at us, or we get invited to big talks and big lectures, and we are part of people, the first thing we start to do is compromise, water down our dawah. Oh, it's tolerance. Islam is about tolerance. Now we remember this. Islam is about this. And we overlook all of the fists and the immorality going right in front of your face. The child pornographies, the child pornographers, we overlook that stuff. The immorality, the bestiality, we overlook that stuff. The homosexuality, we overlook that stuff. All of that stuff get overlooked because we want to water down the dawah. We want to be accepted. Why we can't get together? Why we all just can't get together? See, Islam is tolerable. It ain't all about blowing up people. No, Islam ain't about blowing up people. That's a propaganda that they spread. Got nothing to do with us and those deviant sects or people who got deviant ideologies of blowing up this and blowing up that. You ain't got one time where the Prophet ﷺ blew up anybody. And the kuffar know that. We got to keep trying to explain ourselves to them. They know that. They go back, it's read. The Prophet ﷺ, they said the benefit of the Prophet marrying all of those wives is that we can see all the aspect of his life. It's already there. They know the hadiths are there. Ain't nothing watered down or hidden from them. They can go look at the hadiths. Not one hadith do you have that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ killed innocent people. Not one. Not one. Matter of fact, you got rules of engagement in war that's mentioned in Bukhari in the beginning that the Prophet ﷺ forbade. The bringing down trees, the killing of women and children, the burning with fire, the etc., etc. You have that. They know that. You don't got to apologize. You know, I'm not a terrorist. What do you mean? They know you aren't a terrorist. They know that. It's a propaganda because you stand for that which is correct. You have to understand that. You don't got to compromise your deen. All you got to do is stick to it. Stick to it. That's all Allah asks you to do. SubhanAllah. He says at the end of this beautiful surah, as he mentioned this, he says, Waliya deen, it means فَأَنَا بَرِيٌّ مِّنْكُمْ. And I got to mention this part. وَأَنْتُمْ بَرِيٌّ مِّن دِينِي. That's what this means. For all of you people that say, لَكُمْ دِينَكُمْ وَلِيَ دِينِ, look what it means. You are declaring to the kuffar that I am free of your deen and you are free of mine. I am free of your worship. I am free of your principles. I am free of your morals. I am free of your system. I am free of whatever you do. I am free of it. And you are free from mine. There is a line between us. Now let's go back to that verse that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentioned about Ibrahim and his people. I want us to analyze that verse in today's talk. And I'm going to end it, inshallah ta'ala, with the ending closing words of this chapter. But I want us to look at this verse, man. SubhanAllah azim. Exactly. The Prophet ﷺ, they were being persecuted. They were being persecuted. Now that we're seeing the Muslims being persecuted over there in China, and they doing all of the things, they ain't doing nothing new that they didn't do to the Prophet ﷺ and his people before. And we make dua. We continue to make dua for our Muslim brothers and sisters over there, and the children over there that are being harmed at the hands of the kuffar because they're afraid of Islam. They want to stop it from growing. It's amazing to me. They want to stop it from growing. They want to stop it from spreading like wildfire. But they can't stop it because what they're killing is human beings instead of killing the actual deen. You can never kill the deen. They wish to put out the light of Allah. Allah said they wish to put it out. But they can't. Don't you get it from the boy and the king and the magician? You can't put it out. Matter of fact, when he killed the boy, they became more Muslims. When 9/11 happened, it became more Muslims. When the Gulf War happened, it became more Muslims. Go back and look at it yourself. When I got shot, and I was sitting right there in the hospital, and the person said the bullet went right through my chest and came out to the side of my shoulder. And the person said, Alhamdulillah. And when I heard the doctor say that, I thought, oh, here, this is a Muslim. I said, where did you learn it from? He said, no, I'm not Muslim. I was in the Gulf War. They was over there interacting with the Muslims. And they learned something from dealing with the Muslims. Not no darn terrorists. You want them to tell you that as propaganda they spreading? You don't water down the dawah. We're not entering into no political fear and turning into what they turn it into. No, we're going to keep Islam pure. We're going to keep it pristine. Whatever the Prophet was doing, we doing. Whatever he was on, we on. How he carried himself, we do. How he moved, we move. That's what we do. That's Sunni. You want to be Sunni? That's Sunni. Salafi? You want to be Salafi? That's Sunni Salafi. That's it. Do what the Prophet did. Period. Not what your desire tell you. Oh, now, we in the 21st century, brother. You got to be, you can't be like that because you're spreading hatred. We got to be, the deen of Islam is peace. Where you get that from? Who told you the deen of Islam was peace? Show me one verse in the Quran where Allah Jalla wa Ala said Deen means salam. Yeah, you were talking about the word Islam. Islam is on a different wazn. Do you understand that? Islam is not on salima. It's not fali. It's not alima. It's not fa'ila. No, it's not fa'ila. It's not none of that. It's on aslama, af'ala. Do you understand what that means? When you say ajlasa, that means you made that man sit down. You made him do that. Do you understand that? Adraba, huh? When you say aslama, you made that individual surrender. That's not peace. I don't understand where you get that from. That's not peace. That means you made him. You get it? No peace. Islam is peaceful, brothers. No. Islam is about integrity and holding up the honor of the people and preserving those 5 things. And in that, you'll find your peace. And in that, you'll find your justice. You will never find a Muslim being unjust, even if it's against a non-believer, even against a kuffar. We still will not be unjust towards them. This is what made Islam spread, because we kept to the principles. Meaning, I'm not saying we in conjunction with the companions and with the Salaf. I'm saying in terms, that's how they spread the deen. That's how they spread it. By sticking to the principle. You ever notice a person respect you more when you stick to your principles than anything else? That's all you have to do is stick to your principle. A person respect you more. We compromise, man. We find every excuse to compromise. We want everybody to accept us. Where you get this from? It's about Allah Deen. Yep, and that's exactly what they was. The Crusaders was definitely they was brutal. They was brutal. They wasn't worried about no Bible and none of that stuff. They was brutal. They didn't even work by justice. They had made up an own code where they came up with the valor of the knights. Do you understand that? Go back and study. That's where that Masonic stuff come in. But I'm not going to get into that. It's not this kind of discussion. But it's real. Tayyib, yeah, I was going to show you this verse. Let me finish it. I'm talking too much. This verse right here, inshallah ta'ala, I'm going to finish it. The verse that is mentioned. And this is a beautiful verse. And it teaches really about wala wal bara. And that is the verse Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in Surah Alright, here we go right here. This is Surah Mumtahana, and this is the 60th chapter. Allah Jalla wa Ala said, قَدْ كَانَتْ لَكُمْ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ فِي إِبْرَاهِيمَ وَالَّذِينَ مَعَهُ إِذْ قَالُوا لِقَوْمِهِمْ إِنَّا بُرَاءُ مِنْكُمْ وَمِمَّا تَعْبُدُونَ مِنْ دُونِ اللَّهِ كَفَرْنَا بِكُمْ وَبَدَا بَيْنَنَا وَبَيْنَكُمْ وَعَدَاوَةٌ وَالْبَغْضَاءُ أَبَدًا حَتَّى تُؤْمِنُوا بِاللَّهِ وَحْدَهُ إِلَّا قَوْلَ إِبْرَاهِيمَ لِأَبِيهِ لَأَسْتَغْفِرَنَّ لَكَ وَمَا أَمْلِكُ مِنَ اللَّهِ مِنْ شَيْءٍ رَبَّنَا عَلَيْكَ تَوَكَّلْنَا وَإِلَيْكَ أَنَبْنَا وَإِلَيْكَ الْمَصِيرُ. I want y'all to pay attention to this verse. I can't go in too long. But Allah said, indeed, there has been an excellent example for you with Ibrahim and those with him. When they said to their people, rally, we are free from you and whatever you worship besides Allah. We have rejected you. And there has started between us and you hostility and hatred forever until you believe in Allah alone. You understand that? So, a part of this bara that you make, this dissociation that you make, it has to take place from 2 things. Ibrahim, he says what? It's called Allah said along those with them, they said, Inna bura'u minkum wa mimma ta'budun. Not only are we free from you, yourself, but we are also free from that which you worship besides Allah. And until you return back to your natural fitra, wa kafarna bikum, we reject you. Okay? Do you understand what he's saying? وَبَدَا بَيْنَنَا بَيْنَكُمُ الْعَدَاوَةَ وَالْبَغْضَاءُ. And between you and us is hostility and hatred. Because we hate what Allah hates and we love what Allah loves. So until you return back to worshiping Allah alone, this is where we stand. There is a line. Now in our time, there isn't no line. Just look at our life. Look at the friends that we call our friends, our confidants. There's no line. And everybody keep talking about what, brother, we can't reach that level. No, brother, you can't reach that level because you haven't accepted Islam wholeheartedly. You don't even know what Islam would do for you. Have you accepted it wholeheartedly, you could have seen what it done for you. You don't even know what it done for you. You don't even got the idea what Islam can do for you. You don't even know. Because you don't want to surrender to it wholeheartedly. It's just that simple. Surrender to it wholeheartedly. Every problem that's in the dunya right now, Islam has the answer for it. But you don't want to believe it. Why? Because your shahawat, your desires, because of your shubahat, your doubts, because of you being impressed by those who are cursed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by those who are deaf, dumb, and blind by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because you have been deceived as they have been deceived, and you think that they are onto something. You think that they really have something. They don't got nothing. With all of the PhDs, with all of the degrees, with all of this, etc. Yeah, they're just titles and words. It sounds fancy, it sounds this. They don't have nothing. Their morality is shot. You understand that? Man got a PhD, but he drinks for a profession. He drinks. How can you drink Hummer? How can tell me something that removes your mind state and removes it and call it fuzzy and take you out of your original state? How can it be any intelligence in that? Something that destroys your liver, that you drink and that you smoke, that put the black dots onto your liver. How can it be any intelligence in that? How can it be any intelligence in any type of Hummer? Whether it's weed, whether it's whatever you're smoking, whether it's PCP, what is, oh, that's real crazy, taking bombing fluid that they used to and bomb the dead bodies. Tell me, how can it be any intelligence in any of that stuff? Where's the intellect at? So if you got a PhD, and you got this and you got that, but you got social happy hour and you drinking, something is wrong with you. It's not a lot of things. The prophets, man, they ain't never do that, man. Try to tell you in the Bible that Luke got drunk. They got Lot drunk, and then he slept with one of the daughters, and then he slept with the other one. The other bit left. You understand this? It's crazy. Can't fathom a messenger sleeping, making incest with any of his daughters, let alone him getting drunk. That's just not going to happen. You understand what I'm saying? We're not saying that we don't come from stuff like that. The Sahabas got drunk. In terms, before they became Sahabas, before they became into Islam, until their hearts became pure, they gave that stuff up once it became pure. You understand what I'm saying? We're not saying that we all don't got mistakes. We all have mistakes. We all fall, but that's not party life. How come you can't get high off life? You can't get high off the fact that Allah give you blessings every day, that He opened your two eyes? You can't get high off the fact that Allah gave you limbs, that you can hear when some people can't, that you can see when some people can't see, that you can walk and some people can't walk, that you can talk and some people can't talk? You don't distinguish between that? You can't get high off that? SubhanAllah, I'm always high. I'm buzzed every day, brother. But guess what? All my faculties are still there. All my faculties are still there. I'm on point. SubhanAllah. And he mentioned at the end of that beautiful surah, the closing remarks to that surah, we're done with this. He says that SubhanAllah. He said some of the people of knowledge, they say that this surah was sent down before the obligation of jihad. He says because after jihad, the kuffar weren't able to establish their deen or be persistent upon his or her deen except by way of the jizya, the levy tax that was posed from the Muslim ruler and the Muslims for the protection of those who were non-believers or disbelievers in the lands of the Muslim. If they be from the people of the book, meaning the Jews and the Christians. He said, Sheikh Uthaymeen said, however, what is correct is that this surah does not negate the command of jihad, even if we was to say that it was abrogated. Rather, it remains. And it's incumbent upon us to free ourselves from the deen of the Jews and the Nasaras and the polytheists. And every time, no matter wherever it is at. For this reason, the Jews and the Christians, they have confirmed their deen by way of the jizya. And we worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they worship that which they worship. So this surah contains within it a declaration and a dissociation and freeing yourself from the worship of other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And no matter whether it be in that which they worship or taken as worship or any type of action, and it also contains making your deen sincerely for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and that is that we do not worship no one except Allah alone, and He do not have any partners. So this is another surah of Surah Ikhlas. The Muslims, brothers and sisters, are unapologetically uncompromising. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to allow us to reach that level, to allow our hearts to fully embrace Islam, and to not allow us to water down any aspect of Islam, whether it's for us or against us, whether we understand it fully or not, that we hold on to Islam and that we hold on to it with our moral teeth. What do you think the Prophet ﷺ is saying when he said that there going to come a time where your deen, holding on to your deen, is like holding on hot coals? You can look up in a YouTube video, look at anything, and just look at hot coals and look how it burns something. Holding on your deen, that means you're going to be tested from every angle, every aspect. That means that things that weren't widespread during that time of immorality will be widespread. That things that you couldn't see will be done. And that you have nothing but to hold on to your deen. Hold on. He said, bite down on it. Wanawajidi. Bite down on it with your molar teeth. Lock on it. Because people are going to start losing their scruples. People are going to start losing their minds. People are going to start losing their morals. People are going to start losing everything. And don't you think we live in that time? I mean, from anything you can think of, they're marrying animals, man. Think about it. People are having sex with animals and marrying them. Anything you can think about it. Different. It's 15, what they came up with, 15, 16 different types of genders. What do you have to be like? You don't think that you need to hold on to your deen? You don't think you need to hold on to your deen? In your deen, is you're saying you don't think you need to hold on to it? Hold on to your deen, man. That's what you need to do. We asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us firm whatever we said that was incorrect in this talk. And the brief translation of the tafsir of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surah is definitely from ourselves and shaitan. Whatever we said is from Allah, that was good is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Subhanakallahu wa bihamdi. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Again, thank you all for tuning in and listening. And sorry for taking up too much of your time, but I hope that all of you benefit. And inshallah ta'ala, if any mistakes that I made, if you listen to this or go back, please inbox me. And inshallah ta'ala, we'll try to correct those mistakes immediately. And thank you for pointing it out. Jazakallah khair.